Great. Can everyone see and hear me all right and see the screen? Just like
Yeah.
great, thank you. All right, so good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're at. My name is Aiden. I use they, them pronouns, and I work on our operations team at City Year Chicago. Super excited to kick off our pre-service town hall for all of our confirmed members that will be serving with us this year. So first and foremost, obviously, congratulations. It's been great to meet everyone virtually and in person at our registration days. We're looking forward to meeting you if we haven't yet. Thank you for your introductions in the chat. It's always great to see what you're excited about for this upcoming year. Before we dive into the meeting, I'm just going to go ahead and review our virtual norms for this space in our webinar today. You probably noticed that you were muted upon entry. Just go ahead and keep yourself muted until we have our Q&A at the end. We will have plenty of time to stay on the call with you and answer your questions. You'll probably notice that we kind of move through things quickly to give you all of the content, and then we'll revisit those questions at the end. But feel free to kind of like pop questions in the chat throughout the time here together. If you haven't already done so, please rename yourself on your Zoom box. You're going to click those 3 dots in the top hand corner of your square. We want to make sure that you rename yourself so that we can count your attendance for this town hall. Since it was one of those pre-service requirements, we want to make sure that we've tracked that you came today to get this important information. So just enter your first and last names and the pronouns that you use so we can address you correctly. You'll see an example here on the screen. And again, we will probably kind of hold questions until the end, but feel free to continue using that chat box up until then. So a quick review of our agenda. We're going to start off with a welcome from some of our staff that are on this call today. We'll review what service in schools is expected to look like this year with some key updates and kind of what we know now about how our partnerships with CPS are going to be looking. Then I will review final steps for onboarding and how to prepare for your first day kind of logistically. And then we'll go through like first day logistics, what training is going to look like, and how to prepare, right, mentally and know what to expect. And then closing out with those next steps in Q&A, as I mentioned. So you know us as your confirmed member support team. We've been enjoying getting to know you and kind of helping you with all of those critical steps leading up to your start of service. I'll kick it off again by introducing myself. Aiden, they, them pronouns systems and administration manager at CY Chi. This is, I've worked here for about 2.5 years, and I support on all of the like back end stuff that kind of keeps things moving for you all. Your point of contact for all those onboarding tasks. You'll hear a lot from me at start of service, getting you set up in all of like the systems that you'll need to access, making sure that you feel comfortable getting what you need. So yeah, continue to reach out to me for any help that you need. I'm going to pass it over to Ines.
Hey everyone, my name is Ines. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am part of the admissions team, the recruitment and admissions team. I'm the service year advisor for City Year Chicago. I served in the Corps for 2 years as a Corps member, and then again as a senior Corps member, a team leader. And am really excited to see some of your faces, get to talk to you, and give you some more information as we kind of pass you off to the impact team for the start of the year.
Thanks, Ines. And Andrea's not here with us today, but some of you may have met her at registration days already or been in contact with her about various questions that you've had. Andrea is our in-house expert in all things like AmeriCorps member experience and benefits related. So if you have questions about like
Oh,
You want to
Aiden.
mute?
I'm muted.
Yeah, muted.
Thank you. I don't know at what point I got muted. I was just letting folks know Andrea's not with us here today. She's our like go-to person for all things benefits related. So anything like health insurance, CTA partnership. Definitely reach out to Andrea and we'll provide contact info at the end. And I think I am passing it over next to our learning and development team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maggie Dubray. I use she, her, and hers. I get to proudly serve as our Director of Learning and Development. I'm going to introduce my teammate as well, Jim Wright. He uses he and him. He is our Senior Learning and Development Manager. Jim and I together will run all of your city year-based training. We were both core members, team leaders, managers, and are excited to be in this new role, supporting you all and getting ready for your role. So you will spend most of your start of the year with the two of us, and then almost every Friday from there on out. So excited to meet you all, both virtually and in person soon. I'm going to pass it to the next group.
Good morning, good afternoon, I suppose, wherever you are. My name is J.R. Tompkinson, and I am the proud Managing Director of Impact of City of Chicago. I use the pronouns he, him, his. As the Managing Director of Impact, I manage our entire service operations, so the folks who will be leading and supporting all of you in your service year. That includes our impact managers and directors, instructional coaches, service team, operations. That's the group that I support and lead. And I just want to say on behalf of Mighty Hamilton, our executive director, Mighty sends her joy, love, and appreciation. You're going to be hearing more extensively from the two of us on your very first day of service. So I'll try to be brief today. I just want to share a couple of brief reflections and what I'm excited about for this year. For those of you, I'm sure you have some sense of what last year was like for us, at least kind of the headlines. We spent most of our year last year serving students remotely. And our team did an absolutely, our staff, our core, did a really extraordinary job of navigating that environment and building relationships with teachers and students. But I will say in the spring, when we transitioned to in-person service, in-person learning, it really hit home how much both our core and our students have been missing, and how powerful our service can be for core and students. And so when I look ahead to this year, I'm just really excited about the city year ahead of us. Right now, we're planning for our partnerships, and I'm in meetings with principals every day. And I will tell you, it's staggering, it's humbling how heavy the demand is for city year, for you right now. Believe it or not, I know we're just getting started, but our schools are waiting for you. We have had more than 20 schools and counting who wanted city year this year, but we've just had to turn down because we don't have the capacity. I can tell you the schools that we are going to be serving are so excited to welcome you and see us as critical to their mission this year. Unfinished learning, what students missed during COVID in terms of that learning experience, building meaningful relationships with students, thinking about the trauma they've experienced over the last year and a half. Excuse me, I caught in my throat at a bad time. And then just making the school building a place where they want to be, where they want to re-engage after everything they've been through. City year is going to play a crucial role in this. You'll be playing a crucial role in this. I spoke with a high school principal last week who's concerned that some of his freshmen and sophomores who haven't been in the school building for the last year and a half are at a critical turning point where they might just decide not to bother. Right? I don't want to paint too heavy of a picture, but I will tell you that's what they're so excited about bringing city year in to create this space where students are excited to re-engage. And I just can't tell you how excited I am to see this transformative experience our students, your students, and you all are going to be undergoing together. So having said all that, let's get into what to expect, what we know. I'm going to share some key updates with you. On the next slide, you'll see an overview of some key upcoming dates, right? So right now, you're getting a lot of communication from us related to onboarding tasks, registration. Want to really just appreciate you for staying engaged in that process. I know it's a lot, but it's really important that we continue to follow communications and deadlines. Your start date's coming up right around the corner. Monday, August 9th, your first day is coming. Your first day will be in our Basic Training Academy, BTA. And that's the date that the training begins, pay begins, benefit begins. So for the first 2 weeks, you'll be in training with City Year. And then the week of August 23rd, that's Professional Development Week at schools. That's when you'll actually report to schools for the first time. That'll be a week before students start, but you'll be serving in schools alongside partner teachers and administration. And then at this point, the start of the year is August 30th. So the plan is for school to start on August 30th, Monday, August 30th. You'll be in schools working, serving in your classrooms. So let's go on to talk a little bit about service as a City of Chicago AmeriCorps member. And hopefully none of this will be news, but I think there's some things that are important to emphasize here. One thing to be ready for, 1,700 service hours. That's a requirement under the AmeriCorps grant that funds City Year and funds City Year service. Our AmeriCorps members must reach a total of 1,700 service hours to graduate from the program and remain eligible for that Siegel Education Award. And so what that means, if you think about the full year and kind of do the math, you should expect a 10-hour service day with a half-hour break time. So these are going to be long and immersive, immersive service days. And the schedule is going to vary a little bit by school, but your days will start early. They'll start between 7 and 7:45 a.m. Typically, that end time is going to typically be around 5:45. So these are full, again, immersive service days. A typical week is going to look like 4 days in person at your school, and then 1 day of training on Fridays that is going to be, on some days that training is likely to be virtual, other days in person. But 4 days in person serving in schools and then a day of training is what you should expect. Don't mind the cat, can't stop him from meowing, can't restrain him. But you're welcome again to share your questions in the chat or the Q&A element here if we've got it, and we'll be happy to tackle those as they come up. A little bit more on Basic Training Academy. You heard from Maggie Dubray, who is going to be your guide and leader in those L&D spaces. But overview, 3 weeks of training and preparation before the start of school, 2 weeks of BTA, 1 week of professional development with the school staffs. And they are ready for you and will engage you in their professional development and preparation for the start of school. Now, as far as BTA itself and our startup training, first and second day of training are going to be done virtually on Microsoft Teams. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up, but expect that, again, some of the training, actually most of your startup training is going to be virtual. And so we'll talk about what that's going to look like, but that'll be on Microsoft Teams. Having said that, the policy has not changed about needing to reside in Chicago. So you want to be residing in Chicago. You need to be residing in Chicago as of the first day of service on August 9th, even though you'll be virtual the first couple of days. A couple of other dates and points I want to highlight again, hitting the key dates, the 23rd, first day of PD week, 30th is first day of school. I mentioned remote learning earlier because we spent much of our year serving students remotely last year. Of course, you know now that the plan is for schools to open with students learning in person, and that's what our core members should be expecting this year. And when students are learning in person, that's where we'll be as well. Of course, following the guidelines of local district and health authorities. So I'm almost done before I wrap up. But again, if you have questions, forgive the rapid fire sharing of information, but that's really what the space is largely about, is just giving you updates and sharing what we know. Let's talk about, excuse me, one last kind of bit of guidance I'll share with you is just the principles that guide how we are preparing for and imagining your service year. So I want to just highlight a few. We're going to go into much more depth on all of these, but I just want to name a couple of things so that you know kind of how we're thinking about your service year. One, of course, is safety. And so we want and need and commit to making sure that we are doing everything we can to acknowledge and preserve and prioritize the safety of our core members and staff. That's going to remain at the forefront of our decision making. And City Year, we have a lot of practice with serving in schools historically, but even in the COVID context, we were serving in person in the spring. City Year and the district each independently have developed and continue to build significant steps to minimize the risk of exposure, COVID exposure in school settings. And our schools have plans as well. So again, we have practice with this. It is a priority for all of us. Similarly, we recognize our public health responsibility. So since we are going to be in schools, we recognize the importance of adhering to CDC, local guidelines, doing our part to help minimize community spread. I will call out, of course, prioritizing, supporting and serving our students where they are, and what it means to serve our students. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that, what that means when we get into BTA and get started in a few weeks. But needless to say, that is going to be a priority of ours as well. Supporting core members' development and service. I trust again that this is going to sound somewhat familiar to you, but for those of you who are wondering, what am I getting myself into and am I ready? Right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about BTA, but the one thing I want to share with you, we can't prepare you for everything. I will tell you that, right? We can't prepare you for everything you're going to encounter and for all the elements of service, but we are going to be doing an awful lot to prepare you, and I'm very confident in the programming that we have set up and ready to go. You can count on extensive and robust training throughout the year. As Maggie shared, these will be in a mix of virtual and in-person environments when it's practical and safe to do so. And I just want to stress, our programming recognizes that most of you come to City Year without experience in tutoring, without experience in social emotional development, trauma-informed support, or even how to build relationships with students in this type of environment. We get that. And so we are committed to giving you the tools and the support you need to succeed and thrive in this environment. And lastly, and this goes hand in hand, is the mental health and well-being support. So what I will share with you is that staff members who are in this space, who served in the Corps, as in fact, most of our staff, our Corps alumni, would be the first to tell you how incredibly rewarding a year of service can be, which is why they've now chosen as a profession to come back and support you. But it's also an incredibly challenging year. You're going to be navigating like I said, a very challenging environment where you're spending extensive time supporting students who are dealing with serious trauma and potentially dealing with challenging circumstances of your own, again, in this very immersive environment, service environment. So I just want to say in closing that City Year is committed to providing you the support you'll need to connect the dots between those challenges and the sense of reward and fulfillment that you're going to take with you on the other side, well beyond the end of your City Year. With that, I've said enough. You'll hear more from me when we get back together on the first day of service, but I just want to say it is a joy and an honor to be embarking on this year with you. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you again on the 9th.
Thank you so much, JR, for reviewing all those like super important details that folks need to be aware of as we start service. Definitely echoing that sentiment that we're excited to embark on this year with you all. I'm going to do my part to make sure that you all are logistically prepared to make it to that first day. I know you've heard a lot from me about the onboarding process. And again, as JR mentioned, right, we understand it's like a really extensive process with a lot of steps. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting you through that. And so I want to make sure that I'm reviewing kind of like our last call final onboarding deadlines. Meeting these specific deadlines will allow you to start service on Monday, August 9th. And we're kind of at like a really critical point where if the deadlines aren't met, on the back end, your items can't be processed in time for you to start by August 9th. So these deadlines are truly last call. Please let us know if you're having trouble with any of the items, right? Our job is to make sure that we help you out with those. So this Friday, the 30th, right, that's coming up. We've got a couple of folks that still need to complete CY resource hiring tasks in the Workday portal. This is like the first onboarding email that you'll get from City Year once you have confirmed your position, and completing those actually allows all of your other tasks to be sent to you. It kind of like kicks off that process. So if you haven't received the other items that you're seeing on the slide, it's because you haven't completed that first step first. The other item that's coming up really soon, Monday the 2nd, your TrueScreen online background check. You're looking for 2 emails, one from applicationstation@truescreen.org, and the other one is the background check at cityyear.org email. The Cityyear email has like your instructions for it, and then the TrueScreen email will have like your link to log in and complete that. Again, that's due Monday, August 2nd. That is super soon, right? In summer, time flies. Wednesday the 4th, you've got 2 items coming up. I know a bunch of folks are coming in for registration next week. Super excited to see you there. But by Wednesday, that is the like final call to complete your My AmeriCorps enrollment. I'm seeing some questions in the chat, like how do I know if I've successfully completed it? Usually no news is good news from us, right? But if you want to double check and like haven't heard an update from us, feel free to email me. My email is on this slide here, awest@cityyear.org. I'll put that in the chat and I can always double check your status. Put that in the chat on our end. So definitely appreciate everyone's attention to that. The 4th is also the final date to attend your in-person field print appointment. So in addition to attending that in-person registration day, this is another onboarding task where you actually have to like go somewhere and do a thing. You're getting your fingerprints done. You can go to a field print location near you. There's a couple in the Chicagoland area, for example. You'll have instructions for scheduling that, and then a code that you'll need to schedule that in that email from backgroundcheck@cityyear.org. And then by Monday the 9th, you're submitting your TB test results to me. And that can just be like a really clear photo or PDF scan of your TB test results document. And Emily, I'm seeing your question about difference between a TDAP test and TB test. I'm not super sure. I know that there's some folks that like can't get a TB test, like if you've had TB in the past. So just email me if you've got any like specific questions and we'll troubleshoot that. So before I move on to, we're going to go through like accessing Microsoft Teams in your systems for the first day. Any quick questions about final onboarding deadlines in the chat? I'm not seeing any. Not hearing anything.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
feel free to hop on. I was like, I hear some rustling. Go ahead.
Sorry. I remember filling out the form for registering for the day to come in next week, either the 2nd or the 3rd. And I believe at the town hall in June, we were told we would be receiving confirmation of which day to come in. Sorry, losing my voice. But I don't know if I ever received that or if I just missed it. Is there a way I can check which date I'm supposed to come in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you kind of get your first choice date unless like we reach out and specify otherwise. And so either today or tomorrow, we're going to be sending out those confirmations. Our scheduling is dependent on another fingerprint vendor. You do your CPS background check while you're in the office. So we're getting final confirmation about their scheduling today. And then we send your arrival time. So you'll receive like hopefully either today or tomorrow your arrival time via email. It'll be a calendar invite for when you need to show up to the office, like your documents, and be prepared to kind of spend about an hour with us in the office completing all of the required registration tasks. So stay tuned for that. It has not come out, so you haven't missed anything yet.
I have one quick question as well. For the TB test, can we bring it to registration or would you prefer that we email it to you?
I would prefer if you could email it. It's just digitally a lot easier to keep track of since we've got so many coming in. So thank you so much.
Hi, so I actually also have a quick question. So I did the background check and did the fingerprints and everything, but I wasn't sure if that like got sent to City Year or if there's something else that I would need to do.
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, no news is good news when it comes to onboarding tasks. This week, our team is definitely going to be sending some more updates, like for folks where we're seeing like an incomplete status on something. So I would say like, yeah, for the full group, definitely be monitoring like your texts and your email inbox this week, because you will hear from us if we still need to see something come through. And again, no news is good news. If you have a specific like one-off, hey, did you get this? Email me directly and I'm always happy to check. Thank you. For the sake of time, I'm probably going to move forward into our next section about accessing Microsoft Teams, and then we'll stay on later, like at the end of the call, as long as we need to answer any other questions so people feel set. So you hopefully have heard from your founding team leader in Microsoft Teams thus far. So a quick recap of what that means is everyone's been added to it's like a virtual platform we use for like chatting, groups, video calls, and communication on a daily basis at City or Chicago. So, right, some of your virtual trainings that you have on your first week are going to be in Microsoft Teams. And so everyone's been added right now as a guest with their personal email address to our like core facing Microsoft Teams channel. So you should have gotten an invite to your email from me with like a link to join the team, and then a specific founding team channel, which is a Chicago street name. And you have a team leader who will lead you and about like 5 or 6 other members through the period leading up to service and then into your first week, so that you've got a really direct support system as you transition to service. So those are really going to be your point people. We want to make sure that you can access this virtual space, since you'll need to be in these spaces as we kick off the year. And so I will, when I turn it over to Maggie for the next section, I'll come back and pop some of these key links into the chat. But we've got great resources for getting started with Teams, how to download it on your computer desktop, how to get the app on your phone so that you're getting that super critical information. And then on the next slides, right, I'll just kind of review what this looks like. This is the invite email that will say like you've been added to, you know, the core team in Microsoft Teams. Right, this is kind of what the interface looks like. On the left side, you're seeing your different channels, your chat function, posts from your team leader in the team channel. Make sure, again, like I said, download the web app and the mobile app. Using it on an internet browser isn't super functional all the time, so having that like actually downloaded is going to be key. And then we're asking that you definitely engage in those channels, like messages, comment back to your team leader, let them know that you're in there, that you made it. Our team leaders are folks that have served last year or in the past, so they're going to be amazing resources to ask questions, right? Like what service actually looks and feels like, what life in Chicago is like if you've relocated from somewhere. So please get to know your team leaders. I'm going to pass it over to Maggie and then kind of hold off for questions about Teams until the end. So Maggie, I think you are up next. I'll pass it to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Aiden. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Maggie Dubray. I use she, her, and hers. I get to proudly serve as the Learning and Development Director. We're going to talk about first couple of weeks. Aiden, if you click for me. So your first, and Aiden, if you click again, I might have a weird, there you go. So a couple of things. One, you're going to get all of this in an email right before you start. So, you know, there's a ton of info that comes in these, but you'll get an email from me on August 6th that will have all your first year logistics, reminders, quick links for you, etc. But in the next 2 weeks, you will be forwarded the following calendar invites. So I want you to like keep an eye out for them, make sure you accept them and are ready to go. And if you don't get one, probably by early next week, put it in your team's channel and make sure that you're reaching out to your founding team. But you have an 8:30 a.m. call that will be labeled BTA Welcome and Introduction. This is where we're going to take attendance for the first day. So it's really important that you're in that call. So we can kind of log you in and make sure we have you as with us. It'll be a chance to introduce yourself. We're going to do some welcomes. Should be great. From there, you're going to be joining a handful of teams who we call them portfolios. It's kind of like all your managers work together. But so you'll have a welcome session with an impact director, learning a little bit more about what City Year is, some norms, some culture, expectations or basic training, etc. And then 11 to 5, you'll get another invite from another person that really is a bunch of smaller trainings that will be all of your founding team people together, doing a handful of training, team building together. Your first day is at 8:30 to 5, which you'll know there are breaks built in throughout the day. So while your calendar will look like you are fully booked from the minute you start to the minute you end, you are, but we build in 15-minute breaks. There's an hour lunch break. There's some time where you'll just do some like asynchronous learning, knocking out some compliance pieces on your own. But know that will be coming. Aiden, if you click to the next one. So again, our first day schedule, you're going to be with your founding teams these first couple days. So make sure that you're in that team's platform. Aiden already said it, but it will be your best friend and really make it so much easier to navigate day one if you're already in talking to those people. You're going to serve with them for the first 2 days of service. And again, you will continue to work with them throughout the year. But they're really with you the first 2 days, then you get placed, and then you'll come back to them later throughout our basic training academy. Click Aiden. Great. I want to talk about some highlights. So again, your first day is 8:30 to 5, but every other day will be 8:45 to 5. On that first day, so we're going to just welcome call, get to meet each other a little bit. And then I'm going to run through your full 2-week schedule. So you will have every training you'll get, every break, all the ins and outs on that first day. But some highlights and some things to get excited about is that you'll be placed on your school team on Wednesday, August 11th. So you'll have 2 days with your founding team. And then on Wednesday, you will meet your forever team who you will be serving with for the rest of the year. JR mentioned that majority of our training is virtual, but we do have a handful of in-person days. So some things that put on your calendar now. Wednesday, August 11th, that team placement day will be in person, as well as Friday, August 13th. And Friday, August 13th is going to be exciting because you're actually going to get a chance to go out into your communities and your neighborhoods and get to see a little bit of where you're going. I think someone is not muted right now, so I would just double check that you're muted. Sounds like you might be making lunch, hopefully something good. But double check that you're muted. So these are the 2 in-person days that we are in Basic Training Academy. Wednesday the 11th, Friday the 13th are in-person days. All the other days of Basic Training Academy, so those first 2 weeks, will be virtual. So a couple things for our in-person training. And again, when you come, we'll get a lot more info about it. But the Wednesday will likely be in the loop. And then again, Friday, we'll spend some time out in our neighborhoods and our communities. But I would begin budgeting for 2 days of transportation for BTA. So parking is not provided. So either if you're a driver, you'll need to start looking at Spot Hero, figuring out where you might park, etc. Again, you'll get a lot of info. But if you're not, if you're somebody who's going to be taking the CTA, I'd plan for 2 full days where you're going to need a CTA pass to get you to and from work. Because again, you're getting budgeting and getting organized. So want to make sure you have that early on your radar, the budget for 2 days of transportation. And if you click from there. So in the first 2 weeks, again, we train every single day together. And some of our key topics that I just want to cover is we talk a bunch, especially in week 1, about history, context of city, Chicago Public School District, and City or Chicago as a whole. BTA is really, it's like a boot camp of getting you ready to meet students that following week, meet your teacher the following week, and students the week after. You're going to be introduced to City Year's beloved community work and how at City Year Chicago we work through, we talk about, we have spaces where we talk through diversity, belonging, inclusion, and equity. You'll learn about City Year's whole school, whole child model and how we support student success. There's a model we implement, we address the ABCs. You're going to spend a lot of time in week 2 of BTA learning about that. Again, I mentioned Friday, you're going to get out in the neighborhood you serve in for your school. You're going to get to meet community activists in the area. Well, just to learn more about the communities and the neighborhoods we serve. Easy to get into service, get in your school building and put your head down and just operate. But our neighborhoods, our communities have so many wonderful things to offer. We want to make sure that we are like as deeply rooted in them as we can be. And then lastly, we spend a lot of time in BTA doing whole site, portfolio-based, team-based community building and really getting to know each other. It's kind of like fast and furious. How do we get to know each other before we work 10 hours a day, every day together? We're really excited about a lot of the topics we'll address. Again, on day 1, I'm going to go through the full schedule with you. So you'll see every last topic that we'll cover with just some highlights for you to get excited about. Great. All right. So again, I'll send this when I send my emails a reminder, but some like before you log in that morning, a little checklist for yourself. So I need everybody on a laptop or a tablet, not on a phone. And I need you in a quiet workspace. Play in background if you got it. If not, put in a little background for you because we're going to be a lot on video. So you want to make sure your background's not going to be super distracting. Other people trying to pay attention. Dress to impress. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but again, cameras will be on. So you should be like ready to be on video all day and ready to rock at 8:30. You're going to log into Microsoft Teams that first day and jump in your founding teams channel. Let them know you're online. Say a quick, hey y'all, can't wait to meet you. At 8:30, you'll click that Teams link, get in your calendar invite, and we'll be in that first meeting. We'll likely have some tunes going day 1, ask you to introduce yourself in the chat. We'll start a few minutes after that. But mostly, like, be prepared to engage, ask questions. I promise you, City of Chicago is a big site, so it can feel really big and overwhelming. But individuals, everyone you meet, it's like really, really, really wants to make your year, your start of year, all of it really wonderful. So if you need something, you just got to ask for it. And I promise you will meet 10 people who are ready to jump and support you in whatever way. But I will say this again, 8:30 is when you're getting on the Microsoft Teams, but we see all the time. I'm sure you all are seeing this, right? Whatever virtual learning you had to do in college or high school as you're coming into City Year. But give that Monday morning computer a couple minutes to wake up. Teams can be a little finicky on Monday mornings for us. So just give yourself enough time to be logged in and not sprinting in or overwhelmed. So it's kind of the biggest thing I can say. Whenever you're getting 200 plus people in a virtual space, the more time you give yourself, the better. Get in early, turn your camera off, get a coffee, and come back to join us at 8:30, but feel free to join whenever. Go ahead, Aiden, you can click from there. Great. I want to talk a little bit about uniform stuff. So Aiden, I'll drop this link for you so you can find more about City Year uniform in general through this link. Your full uniform, so you'll get a million great pieces, but that comes like mid to late September. We got a new logo this year, some new designs. So I've been at City Year for 9 years, but I am pumped for a little refresh of my uniforms. When you registered, you got a handful of training t-shirts. So I don't know if they look like this, but I'm in one of the City Year tees. On this first day, you should be in a City Year top, whatever bottoms you want, because we're virtual, so we won't be seeing if you're in shorts or whatever, but be in your City Year tee for the first day. And then when we meet on that first day, you'll get kind of uniform expectations. What should I be wearing for the rest of basic training and into in person? So know that again, day 1, City Year training tee. For some reason you did not get your City Year t-shirt, business casual top, and then we'll make sure to get you a uniform shirt. Great. Aiden, can you click? And then I'm going to come back and look at this chat so that I can make sure we got it. Okay, here's just the only other uniform things. So City Year provides you a million t-shirts, outer layers, a sweater, coats, etc. So the things you need to buy on your own, again, you're anticipating 5 days in person. You know your laundry situation, how many you gotta buy. But it is black pants or black skirts. So pants should be like straight leg, not jeans, not yoga pants, not sweatpants, should be like business casual, black pants. If you're in a skirt, it should be knee length or longer. As you're working in schools, you are like on your feet running around all day. So the more comfortable everything you're in, the better. So I would be like trying to find, I know I bought, I think as a core member, all my pants at Old Navy. They have like a back to school sale where they sell black pants for pretty cheap. That's where I got all mine. You can find them anywhere, but I get some that are comfy, cozy, but fit well and are ultimately like business casual, whether it's pants or skirt. If you are going to wear a belt, it should be a black belt, plain, simple buckle. The belt is optional if you're not a belt person. If your pants or skirt doesn't have loops, you don't need it. That's okay, but if you're gonna wear a belt, it should be all black. Shoes, you need to buy on your own. They should be black closed-toed shoes. They should just be majority black. Some accent colors are okay, but they shouldn't be green with some black in it. They should be black with a little bit of green in it. Again, you are on your feet as a core member. JR mentioned they're 10-hour days. You're on it sometimes for 8 hours a day. So the more comfortable shoes you can wear, great. I got like a pair of black gym shoes that I wore that were easy, professional enough, and ultimately allowed me to be on my feet for 10 hours a day. Socks, wear whatever you want, keep it appropriate. We work with kids, but feel free to have some fancy socks if that's your thing. And then in Chicago, if you are not from here, Chicago gets real stinking cold. So get yourself some winter accessories. They should be plain black, neutral colors, minimal, but feel free to wear what you want. They shouldn't be too loud. Keep it simple. Aiden, I want to answer, I think that might be my last slide, but I wanted to see, so someone asked about if 8:40 to 5 also going to be the general virtual training times each Friday throughout service. Claudia, that is a great question, and now I'm not going to say it wrong. I think it's just a little bit earlier. It might be 8:30 to 5, maybe 8:15 to 5. But I'll get that all for your first day. I just have 10 training spreadsheets, so I'll make sure you all have it. But training, and again, when we're virtual, whether we're virtual or in person, our hours will be pretty similar for training. And you'll have those dates ahead of time when we're virtual versus in person. I think that seems like the only question I caught from the chat. But again, I will send, yes, it is black pants exclusively. So no khakis, no gray pants. Those you can wear if we do it out of uniform, but it should just be all black pants for when you're in uniform. That's a great question. Otherwise, again, I will send you a full email with lots of this information, more meeting maker links, the whole thing next week. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to Aiden or I, and one of us will get you the answer. But Aiden, I think those are all my slides.
Yeah, and then if you haven't gotten those training shirts yet, and you're attending registration like next week, that's when you'll get them in person. So I think we are, done. We're gonna move into just like a recap of who to reach out to, and then we'll do some Q&A. So we know we just gave you so much information, probably a lot to absorb and remember. We will try to send out this slide deck after the call so that you can refer back to it. We'll probably post it on the city or like confirmed member website that we've been linking to. So review the information. Like Maggie said, you'll probably get some emails from her as we get closer to that start date, right? You'll get some onboarding emails from me, the start of service emails from Maggie. So you'll continue getting this information. Between now and August 9th, your primary point of contact will be your team leader and manager in that founding team's channel. And then reach out to me and Inez, like if you're having issues accessing Microsoft Teams or have like emergencies and barriers to service on day one, we can help troubleshoot and get you into those spaces and like connect you with the right people. So again, on day one, just emphasizing again, like we are taking attendance starting at 8:30, like that's it, even though we're, virtual, that's when things really begin and kick off. So please let us know, right, if there's any issues getting in. Continue reaching out to Andrea for anything related to benefits, and then Maggie for anything about like, oh, I haven't gotten the calendar invite, or I missed the email, or just questions about BTA and start of service info. And with that said, we can dive into Q&A. I'll just leave this slide up, and we can circle back to previous slides if needed. But just like taking a moment to like sit with all the information we went through, assessing like where we're at, do we feel ready for that first day? That was kind of our goal of creating this space with you. And then what other questions and support do we need to address? So at this point, pretty open-ended. Let us know what you need, either type in the chat or feel free to hop on the mic.
I have a small question. Just feels important to understand that if a Teams meeting is called for 8:30, to make sure that we are on early at the appropriate time to get like checked off for attendance, would you like us to every meeting like unspokenly 15 minutes earlier? If it's called for 8:30, is it like be there at 8:30?
Yeah, I'm going to pass this to Maggie to maybe talk about how we like think about timeliness and meeting attendance.
Yep, that's a great question. So I think, again, number one, with your actual Teams call, especially day one, I think I'd give yourself 5-10 minutes. After that, we normally do like 5 minutes before we got tunes going. That's when you should like sign in, get yourself set up. Just always say day one, Teams can be a little sometimes tricky, and whatever reason, Teams is like the most Monday of virtual platforms sometimes, and just like needs a minute to wake up. That first day, I'd give yourself some time. But for all other calls, our goal is like, we will start like, if it's supposed to start at whatever time, we normally start like the second it turns that minute. So I always say give yourself at least 5 minutes to just turn it on, turn your camera off, get whatever you need to do, but then be like in it, ready to go when we start.
I also am seeing some questions about, sorry, there's a lot coming through in the chat, so I think we'll need to catch up. Give us a moment. I saw a question about like when the first day of training is and do we need to confirm it? So again, to clarify, training is like 2 weeks of training with like that Maggie's, put together with like the learning and development track, and then 1 week in school team. So everybody is training, everyone is starting service on August 9th. Like that is day one. There's nothing you need to do to confirm that because you confirmed to serve this year. Your start date is August 9th. So hopefully that clears things up. What you had to confirm ahead of that was like your registration date. That's like the only other in-person component prior to your actual start date. And so, right, when we say start date, you're not just diving right into schools, you're starting with that training. So hopefully that clears things up. Sorry, I'm just gonna kind of roll through what I'm seeing in the chat here. Mia, you asked a great question about the CTA pass. And so the CTA pass is something that can be available at zero cost to you, but it is in exchange for service hours through a partnership with the CTA. So at the beginning of service, you'll hear more from Andrea about this, about how to enroll in the CTA partnership program that allows you to sign up for those service hours. And then you would get that pass in exchange for serving those hours. And service hours could be different service projects, right, outside of your typical service in schools. We're actually like meeting up at a CTA station, supporting them with different like events or like cleanup projects, community engagement, etc. From what I remember, I don't think CTA passes become available until I think it's end of August or early September. Maggie, do you know if that's correct? I know it's not immediately.
No, it's definitely normally in September,
Okay.
but we could get the info from Andrea and add it to whatever gets sent out.
Awesome. Thanks, Maggie. Next, another benefits related question I saw was, when are we able to sign up for health insurance? That's one of the tasks you'll complete on your first day, is kind of what we call our like post start date onboarding tasks. You'll complete it in that same CY resource portal, and your health insurance will actually be kind of like backdated effective to that first date, August 9th, if you opt in. TB test results should be dated within 7 months of your first date in service, so they do need to be recent. Tatiana, great question. Like day by day checklist and visible calendar, you'll definitely get more like info from us this week, right? That laying out those like completing the onboarding task, last call deadline, what to expect, like right, August 9th and all of that. So definitely stay tuned. Appreciate you advocating for that. Again, reach out individually if you feel like you're not getting the info that you need from us, right? We want to support you all in whatever way is best. Also seeing some questions in the chat about Microsoft Teams access. Reminder that I'm your go-to person for Microsoft Teams access. Please email me directly if you're having an issue. That will allow me to like note your issue and like work on it. If I get that in my inbox. Let's see, anything else? Sorry, I'm still scrolling through all these.
I had a question.
Mhm.
So I signed up for registration for this upcoming next week, but I haven't received anything about it. So I was just wondering if there's anything else I need to confirm, or if the link hasn't been sent out yet.
Yeah, so we went through that a little bit earlier in the town hall, but as a recap for folks, everyone should at this point be signed up for, or have submitted that form for signing up for one of the registration dates next week, the 2nd or the 3rd. And then you receive your like confirmation of a specific arrival time. It's typically been about a week in advance. We're still waiting on confirmation from our on-site fingerprinting vendor for CPS that will be there. So within the next day or so, you should receive your specific arrival time, but just plan to be there, right, for whatever you listed as like your first choice date. Everyone's gotten that date unless otherwise specified. Mona, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for your patience on that.
Can I jump in on two real quick, Aiden?
Yeah.
If you may have answered this already, but I see the question come up again. So the TB test, some people already answered it in the chat. You can get it at any doctor's office or CVS or Walgreens. And for registration, if you have not yet signed up for a registration day, email me, or I will be emailing you to get you signed up. So I will reach out to some people after this about that. And then there's a question about receiving laptops if they marked during registration that they needed one. When will they receive that?
Yeah, that's still something that I need a little bit of clarity on from folks at the site level around how we're going to distribute those. So I would say right now, if you are unable to join like your first day without that tech, right? Like Maggie said, you definitely need to be on a tablet or a laptop in order to be able to engage in these virtual spaces, because a phone isn't going to let you do what you need to do and access all the different like resources. Email me and Inez, and we will work with you directly on getting that laptop, and then we'll provide the full group some more detailed information about that if you opted in through that pre-service survey and at registration. And sorry if I missed any of this, I was still scrolling through the chat.
Did I ask trouble?
Is someone trying to hop on the mic with a question?
Yeah, I have a question. It has not been touched on, but it's about the enrollment. So I have completed an enrollment form, and my question is, do you have to complete the application as well? Application form.
No, you shouldn't have to complete the application because you applied through Citier directly. So it's just that My AmeriCorps enrollment that you receive the invite from, I think it's like AmeriCorps at myamericorps.gov or something like that.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
I've got a couple. For the TB test, if we can't get that, I might have just emailed you about this, Aiden. But if we can't get that by August 9th, would it be all right to have that a couple days after?
Yeah, if there's like a one-off specific case, yeah, go ahead and email me. I know I've seen a couple come through thus far, but yeah, just flag that to me via email,
Okay.
and I will get back to you.
Okay. And I was also wondering about the service, like the survey that we're supposed to fill out in registration day. If I could fill that out remotely.
Yeah, Jacob, I saw your email come through.
Okay.
I will respond to it after this, and we'll get you all set up.
Thank you.
There's
I think a couple folks asked this in the chat. So I'm going to clarify like if you haven't attended an in-person registration date and haven't attended like a one-off kind of situation with us, the final registration dates are next Monday, 8/2 and 8/3. Everyone should be signed up for it. Like Inez said, if you haven't signed up, you'll hear from us soon. But again, yeah, final registration dates are Monday, 8/2 and 8/3, and those are required to serve because you like verify your identity documents, you complete a placement survey, other critical tasks while you're in the office, including like the CPS background check and all of that. So thank you for those questions, and I will confirm that in the chat here as well.
I have one question.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so the registration dates, well, it's not one question, it's two. The registration dates, what time does it start?
If you haven't attended a registration date yet, you'll get an arrival time. It's typically between 11 and 1. And then you would expect to be in the office with us for about an hour.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
Aiden, there's a question in the chat about when payroll, when they set that up. Did you answer that one already?
No. So you'll set up payroll, right? The same kind of thing with health insurance. That will be one of the tasks that you complete on your first day. And so I can double check this. It should be in the registration packet you get. So on your first day, you start like accruing your hours and time for pay. But let me double check when you get that first paycheck.
I believe it's the 20th.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I did not have it up. August 20th.
Yep. And it'll be a half one, and then the next one will be a full one. Marjolie's, your question might be more specific, so maybe email us so that we can give you a more detailed answer.
I think I see two more I can answer. Carson, to answer your question, attire for registration day is business casual. You'll get those like more specific details in your calendar invite once you receive that in the next couple days. Again, those final dates are 8/2 and 8/3, so you'll receive the confirmation soon. And I will get to these ones about the relocation benefit in a second. But I saw another question about like needing your social security card, I'm gonna real quick drop the link to the IDs page. So if you haven't attended registration yet, typing this, sorry. If you haven't attended registration yet, check out this link that I put in the chat. This will explain the ID documents that we're verifying in person at registration date. Again, if you do not have the documents or they are expired, we will not be able to register you because these are AmeriCorps required documents. And so if you don't have the identity documents listed on this page, please reach out to us as soon as possible so we can kind of work with you to figure out what the best next steps will be. Items that you need are a government issued photo ID, a social security card. It cannot be like a photocopy, it has to be like the actual card. And then proof of US citizenship or legal permanent resident status. So if the government issued photo ID that you're bringing is a passport that also verifies your US citizenship, you'll need to bring two. But this page that I linked explains like all of the proof of US citizenship that you could bring, right? That could be a birth certificate is like the most common one, for example. So most people bring 3 documents. If you've got a passport, you only need to bring 2. But yes, a social security card is one of them. Moving on to the $500 relocation benefit. One thing I think we like went over this in our June town hall. So this might be new for folks that have confirmed recently. After tax, and as correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's about for folks usually between $300-ish after taxes, and that is included in your first paycheck. If you completed your pre-service survey and are relocating over 50 miles. Applying for student loan forbearance is something that you'll get guidance on within that first week. That comes from Andrea. And as I know you've been scrolling the chat as well, is there anything that I missed that I was supposed to address?
I don't think so. I tried to answer some too, but if we missed your question, come on the mic and let us know. Olivia will at registration give you a form that you can take to sign up for food stamps and stuff. So you'll get that at registration. Yes, Drew, I can send this recording out to everyone. Monty, they should be connected already, but yeah, you can email us if you have questions. Yeah, it should, when you go to log in, like you should already see your information because you had another AmeriCorps account, but you should still be able to do the enrollment form. If you can't, let us know.
I can answer the question about town halls. So that's a great question. Right now, we're kind of hosting these town halls because we don't have regular meetings and touch points with you all to get you the critical information that you need as members. But usually, right, those Friday learning and development days that Maggie discussed are spaces where, right, you'll do everything from like training to working with your team to right, getting updates from our leadership, like JR and Maidi, for example. So those will be kind of like built into your service hours moving forward. But that's a good question.
Well, thank you all for coming. We'll stick on for a little bit longer if there's any other questions, but if not, you're free to jump off. And like Aiden said, we'll put this recording on the website and send it out to everyone so you can rewatch it. And for those of you that haven't come to registration yet, we'll see you soon. And for everyone else, we'll send you more information via email soon too. Thanks for coming.
I'm already seeing a lot of emails come through. So I also want to say thank you all for your patience and hearing back from us. We are absolutely doing our best to make sure that we support you. So appreciating everyone's patience as we do that.
Thank you all very much.
Welcome.